Good morning. I have tried to make this video about 6 times, but it has been too windy and the audio has really blown chunks. So now we don't have any wind this morning, which is phenomenal. These poor trees have been wind whipped for the last couple weeks. But what I'm going to talk about today is the progression of the jujube budding and flowering. Now, first off, before I talk about these fruit, what they look like when they fruit, there is the primary trunk, which is right here, painted in white. Here it's painted in white. I did that to protect it. And then at the top here, you can see this is a secondary branch that's coming out here. And then you have these other branches that are smaller coming out. And then this is the fruiting branch. And there's specific terminology that they have. University of New Mexico has a really good video on the breakdown of the jujube and what all these different branches actually mean. But from here all the way up, that is all new growth from this year. It used to be just a stick in the ground, literally just a stick in the ground. And here I have other growth. So the jujube fruits on first year growth. And if I can show you, I have another video that kind of shows this where my thumb is pointing. Let's see if I can zoom in. That is what the bud looks like. And then when you shift over, that is what the flower looks like. And when that center part peaks, kind of like how it is right now, that means that it is fruited, or it's been pollinated to create fruit. And then over here, that is the fruit right there. Isn't that awesome? And over on here, I have another bigger piece of fruit. This is the Shanxi, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Shanxi jujube, and these guys will get to be about the size of a ping pong ball for it. If I zoom back a little bit more here, you can see that a lot of these fruiting branches have created fruit. So here I have fruit. Almost every single branch has some type of fruit that has been pollinated for it. And I have about 30 pieces of fruit on this tree so far, which has been pretty good. Now, the thing that a lot of people say that there are issues with the jujube is shoots that will come off the bottom. I have not seen that. I had it once. There's a video for my sugarcane jujube, which is right there, and that had some shoots coming out of it. It only had one that came out the bottom, and I let it just sit there and grow, and I'm glad I did because it has cross-pollinated, or it did cross-pollinate with the rest of the tree, and I had hundreds of sugarcane jujubes. This one, it has fruited, but the problem is the sugarcane jujube has not fruited yet. Like, nothing is pollinated with it. I have tons of wasps and bees that are around that guy all the time, and I still haven't seen any fruit set on it. Whereas this guy, I haven't seen any wasps or bees, but I've seen fruit set on it, as you can see. So another thing that is important to know about jujubes is they love the heat. So this guy is going gangbuster ever since it went above 100 degrees. And there's a little bit of burning that is happening at some of the flower or leaves, but nothing too intense or bad for it. Compared to my apium that is right next to it, it gets the same amount of water, but you can see that the edge of the new growth on these leaves is lighter in green. It's lighter and it is more yellow versus the older growth, which is darker. And some people might think, oh no, you have to give it calcium to be able to help it so it's not that light green, but trees tend to go more light green when they are in some type of a heat shock, which happens. I mean, we're hitting 115 degrees today, and almost all of these trees have had some type of heat shock in them. But the jujube, for the heat shock, it tends to just grow more with the heat. So I hope that this information is beneficial for you to be able to see what the fruit actually looks like and how it's going to start growing. I should be able to have these in September or maybe even as late as October, but they will stay on the tree for a really long time. I personally like to eat them when they're green and they start to get a little bit of brown spots on it, which is not an indication that it's going bad. That's actually an indication that it is ripening. But beyond that, I love these things. The Shanxi is not as sweet as the sugar cane, but it's a bigger fruit. And sometimes they will have 2 seeds in them. But I will make a video on what the fruit actually looks like at harvest time. Okay, shoot me any comments or questions if you have any about jujubes and what their growing rate is. I'm gonna get a couple of different varieties of jujube in the spring to graft onto this tree and the other one to help with cross-pollination. Even though some of these are considered to be self-pollinating, it always helps with more fruit production if you have something to cross-pollinate with it. Okay, have a stellar day.